All right, everyone, we've got good news. Well, it's mostly good, which is that Trump's wall, in a preliminary fashion, is now funded. 3.5 billion, I believe, is the number given. The Pentagon has okayed to take from military expenditures in the more general sense and use it to build Trump's wall. That's very, very good. Couldn't come at a better time, by the way, because you do have some economic instability going on. I don't think a recession or anything, but things are a little more shaky. So you need an injection of confidence back into your core fan base if you're Trump. This accomplishes that. What's happened is that Trump long ago said, well, I want to build a wall on the southern border, fix the border crisis, give me money. The legislature decided to give him a fraction of what he asked for with a bunch of strings attached, which meant that not a whole lot was accomplished. The biggest win that he got ultimately in the original spending bill. This is, I think, late last year, if I remember correctly, when that went through. The biggest thing that he got was an enhancement of the border the stations themselves, like having more people there, better security in the crossing areas. But that doesn't have anything to do with illegal crossings. That's sort of just the point of entries were spit shined. They were made a bit better. He begged Congress for the better part of a year for more money as well for detention facilities because he actually gave a damn about the conditions there. The Democrats didn't. The Democrats said, wow, it's great that the conditions are so bad. It's good that little kids are on mats on a concrete floor because then we can show that to the American public and they'll hate Trump for it. Even though the detention facilities and their shortages and problems peaked under Obama, even though Obama's actually responsible for the problem, and in a low-key way, even groups like CNN admitted to that, but they hushed it up. They kept it on like page 6, so to speak. Anyway, so he said, well, Congress won't fund it. They're not giving me enough, and it comes with all these strings attached. Well, fuck you. I'm the head of the executive branch. And while the House controls the purse strings and the Democrats control the House, I've got discretionary spending through the military. I'm commander-in-chief, so I can do whatever I want with it. There's a national emergency. I'm allowed to build my wall. It was always true that was the case. It's not even in question. It's beyond a shadow of a doubt under any sane interpretation of existing law, under U.S. law. Not only does Trump have a right to guard the southern border in such a manner, he actually has no choice. He's responsible legally for doing so, and especially if the legislature is not willing to enforce existing immigration law, and they have been completely unsuccessful at doing so, he has a responsibility to crack down on the southern border. He doesn't even have a right to do it. It's literally part of his job description. So he said, well, I want several billion from the Pentagon in discretionary funding. See, what happens is the House controls the purse strings, as I've pointed out. What they've done, though, for military reasons, for pragmatic reasons, and the libertarian in me, of course, is not entirely happy about this when it happens, they give huge amounts of money each year to the Pentagon, and what they do is they say, this is for general military purposes. You can use it for what you feel appropriate. The executive branch administers that side of the economy, the never-ending war footing, the military-industrial complex, to the tune of hundreds of billions every single year. It's a massive amount of money. The idea is that you want that to be separate from the bureaucratic legalism of the legislature because, the military especially has to be able to respond more rapidly than a legislative body often can. It can be pragmatic, although I wish that was only the case during an actual war. We're not currently in one. We're just bombing people anyway and acting like we're at war in a dozen places. But Trump said, look, there's a national emergency. It's of military and strategic importance to U.S. security. It's my job to secure the border, so I'll just use discretionary funding. The Pentagon sort of balked, and the Ninth Circuit issued an injunction. That era has passed. The Pentagon has now said, okay, now you have one final hurdle, though, to building the wall. And in some areas, it won't be a problem. Enhancing existing, turning the fence into an actual wall, so to speak, in areas where there's already a barrier there, that's easy. He can do that starting now. The problem is that in some parts of the southern border, you have vulnerabilities where private entities or state government lands or other things are there, and you have to work legally around each and every one of those separately. Now, the federal government, of course, in the end wins all because it has inexhaustible amounts of taxpayer money to wage legal battles. They have 1,000 team lawyers and all of that stuff. But that doesn't mean it won't take time. If you want the wall to be fully built, and it'll start pretty much now, you must re-elect Donald Trump. You're not going to get it with any Democrats. The front-runner Democrats, the viable Democrats, not a single one wants to secure the border. In fact, as far as I know, everyone on that list except for Joe Biden wants to make the border like Swiss cheese. Elizabeth Warren famously saying, oh, no, border crossing should be totally legal. We're going to decriminalize it. It said, if Elizabeth Warren becomes president and actually imposes such a policy, is it going to be reciprocal? Can I walk into Mexico and say, fuck you, I don't have my papers and it doesn't matter? Am I going to be able to do that? Because I can't wait to go backpacking down and see like Montezuma's castle and shit like that. There's no, I mean, what's going to stop me? I'll just fucking, float across the border in a hot air balloon and no problem, and I'll go and see Belize for the weekend. I'm not going to stop in Mexico, but I'll go to Venezuela, and Maduro, I guess he'll be reciprocal and say, hi, El Presidente, I'm here to visit for a week. Please don't, have me locked up in a gulag. There's still plenty of battle to wage, but Trump actually has made some pretty good progress. Remember, he did get a spending bill that did include many of the provisions he wanted. The only provision it didn't include was expanding the existing wall. I think he got, 50 miles of actual new barrier in southern Texas, and that's the only thing he secured. It's a victory at the time, because it got everything else that he needed out of the way so that he could focus on the rest. And I think it was always his plan to use discretionary spending, but he got slowed down by the Ninth Circuit. And all the Coulterites, they said, he's not going to build his wall. You look at him right now. He's very happy about this decision. He got his $3.5 billion. Did I not tell you to wait? You're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but it's clear that that's still... Trump is the only one trying to solve the problem. What are you going to do? Vote for Bernie Sanders, who thinks we can all just sit around sing kumbaya at the border and everything will be okay? Cartel violence, who gives a fucking shit about that? Human trafficking, who cares? Yeah, let me vote for a party that's essentially... The Democrats are as organized as any proper anarchist movement a century ago at this point. They don't even know what they're arguing for. There is no stable strategic message coming from the Democrats other than Orange Man bad, which means that if Orange Man's trying to secure the border, you can look for them to try to out-leftist each other even further on this situation. It might come to the point where Elizabeth Warren's message of decriminalizing illegal border crossings starts to look like a centrist platform according to modern democratic standards. Is that something Ann Coulter would be happy with, or Ben Shapiro, or any of these other goofballs? Are they going to be happy about these situations? Probably are. I mean, they're globalistic in nature. It's very funny to see people claim that they're like, they're a far-right extreme nationalists. No, they're not. No, not really. They wish Bush was in. They wish Jeb Bush had won, I guess. It's very funny. It's funny. Coulter was one of the first people. I have a feeling there's like a 99% chance when she was asked on Fox famously who she thought would be nominated, and she said Donald Trump. I think she was joking at the time, and it was part of her normal shtick. I don't think she was part of some club of people in the know who actually understood that he had an advantage. I think she was literally just trying to figure which answer can I give to get the most attention and therefore the most book sales. Oh, fucking Donald Trump. Of course, absolutely. That's about all. Peace out.